Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to be answering the question, where are Leilani Simon's other children now? If you're here from TikTok, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notifications for when I post. So creator True Crime Replay actually obtained the court documents where the children were removed, so we're going to go over that. First, Leilani Simon has 3 children. She had her oldest, Zane, Quinton, and then her youngest daughter, Sky, who was recently just born in July. So first we're going to go over this family tree. We have Billie Joe Howell, Leilani's mother, at the top, and then her husband, Tommy Howell. And Billie Joe has 3 sons, Nathaniel, Paul, and Joe, and then we have daughter Leilani. Cody Wharton is Zane's father, Bubba Moss is Quinton's father, and Danny Youngkin is Sky Youngkin's father. Now, if you follow me from TikTok, you know that my username is Recovered Mom. I have been sober for 6 years, so I am familiar with how this process works when you're an addict and you're pregnant. Now, I am living proof that addicts do recover, and that pregnant mothers in treatment deserve to have their children if they take their treatment seriously. So I am going to offer my insight and my opinion on that just because I do have experience with this. So let's get into this affidavit and we'll talk more about that after. Okay, so this document again was posted by True Crime Replay. It is dated October 14th, 2022. It has in the interest of Zane Wharton, Sky Youngkin, and then it has their date of birth, the case, and the file numbers. Reads, amended order, transferred temporary legal custody following authorization for removal. Complaints and an affidavit have been filed in this court indicating that pursuant to OCGA, law enforcement removed the above referenced children from their home on October 12, 2022 at approximately 6:30 p.m. and an officer of this court authorized removal of the children from the home and the placement of the children in foster care because the children were in imminent danger of abuse or neglect if they remained in the home. Removal of the children from the custodian was and remains necessary to safeguard the children's welfare. Continuation of the children in the home and or remaining children to the home would be contrary to the welfare of the children. And removal of the children is in the best interest of the children because a voluntary kinship care agreement with relatives became insufficient to ensure the safety and welfare of the children during a child death investigation. The children's sibling, Quinton Simon, was reported missing on October 5, 2022. Based upon information obtained in the course of its missing child investigation on October 12, 2022, law enforcement notified DFCS and the family it was proceeding with a child death investigation. The children and the sibling were living in a home with the mother, the Youngkin father, and the maternal grandmother prior to the siblings' disappearance. The mother is a primary subject of the death investigation, and other household members, as well as relatives, continue to be investigated for protective capacity. The mother is a chronic, unrehabilitated substance abuser of cocaine and cannabis. She screened positive for and admitted to the use of cocaine and THC at the birth of the child Sky. She has continued to screen positive for cocaine. The mother has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and anxiety disorder for which she has not been receiving ongoing mental health treatment. The maternal grandmother has a permanent guardianship order as to the child Zane pursuant to documents from the Juvenile Court of Burke County. The maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision for the child Zane by leaving the child Zane in the home in the care of the mother, a person the maternal grandmother knew or should have known was unfit to provide proper care while the maternal grandmother traveled out of state. The Georgia Department of Human Services through the Chatham County Department of Family and Children Services made reasonable efforts to prevent the removal of the children from the home and to make it possible for the children to return home. including consultation with law enforcement utilizing a voluntary kinship care agreement during the missing child investigation, attempting to verify the maternal grandmother's claim to permanent guardianship of the child Zane and the sibling Quinton, confirming with the Cherokee Nation the children do not qualify as Indian children pursuant to the Indian Child Welfare Act, reviewing the Child Protective Services history from other counties as well as ongoing Family Preservation Services case, previously providing the mother with substance abuse rehabilitation treatment following in utero drug exposure of the child Zane, providing an updated substance abuse assessment and rehabilitation treatment following in utero drug exposure of the child Sky, and requesting drug screening of the mother. It is therefore ordered that to protect the children, temporary legal custody of the above referenced children be transferred to Georgia Department of Human Services through the Chatham County Department of Family and Child Services, pending further order of the court. It is further ordered the custodian is authorized to obtain physical examination, ordinary medical care, and such medical treatment and care which, in the opinion of a licensed physician, requires prompt treatment for the care of the children. The preliminary protective hearing shall be held on October 17, 2022 at 11 a.m. The parties are hereby directed to attend at said hearing. Okay, so that is set for today now, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see if Leilani and her family show up to this court hearing. Because although Billy Joe has custody of the two boys, she did not have custody of Sky. And now Leilani is about to lose that custody of Sky. So technically, she needs to be there. As well as Danny Youngkin should be there, because this is regarding his daughter Sky. We have heard rumors that he wants to gain custody of her. So if that is in fact true, he should be at this court hearing. Now, in this document, it almost makes it sound like whoever the children are with now in regards to family, that the court is going to remove them from that family as well. It says, because a voluntary kinship case agreement with relatives became insufficient to ensure the safety and welfare of the children during a child death investigation. So that is currently right now. This also sounds like they tried to do everything they could to keep these children with family. It states multiple times that Leilani is a chronic, unrehabilitated substance abuser. So that just makes me think that she was not in a treatment program, which doesn't make much sense to me, because typically when a mother is pregnant and known to be a substance abuser, CPS should already have open cases with that person, and they should be in treatment as a requirement to even be around or have custody of their children. And as soon as Leilani gave birth to Sky in the hospital and tested positive, CPS should have immediately been involved, and she should have had custody of her removed as well. And then CPS would have been able to further investigate where her other children were and the conditions in which they were living in currently. So I'm really surprised that that has not happened here. So as they've put in this, that the maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision of the children, CPS also failed to be involved in this case. I know that it's different for different states when someone is an addict and pregnant, but in this situation, there's no excuse for them to have not been involved. CPS removes kids for the wrong reasons, and then the kids that don't get removed, that need to be, end up failed by the system. Now, it's very evident that Leilani has a history with this. So, the hospital that she delivered her baby in should also know this and be able to see this. They should have also known before she even delivered her baby if she was attending her prenatal appointments, because you have to do a screening there as well. If she was not attending these prenatal appointments, it was possible that she could have flew under the radar and they would have no way of knowing she was pregnant. However, once you're actually in the hospital to deliver your baby, you are drug tested there, and then once the baby is born, they also take the baby's umbilical cord for drug testing as well, especially since she had a history. Now, this is a relatively new thing, but this provides a longer history of drug exposure. Now, I know that some states switched their testing that no matter who you are, if you are delivering a baby, you are automatically going to be tested, as well as the baby will be tested for drugs. And it appears that that is now law in Georgia as well. Once the hospital establishes that the mother is a drug user, when the baby is born, they will do a test on the baby to make sure that the baby does not have neonatal abstinence syndrome or withdrawing from any substances. And they use a scoring system for this. If the baby is having high scores on those tests, then they will stay in the hospital for a longer duration of time. And typically, if the baby tests positive for drugs in their system, as well as the mother, then CPS is to automatically get involved. And usually it results in a removal of the child, or they will set up a care plan and they will allow a family member to basically have temporary custody of the child, and then the mother is required to prove that they are in treatment. And that does not seem like it happened here. So although Billy Joe is responsible for not protecting those children, where was CPS is what I want to know. Because had they been involved, as they should have been, they would have been able to see what these children's living conditions were, and maybe baby Quinton would still be here.